Okay, good morning, everybody, or good evening, depends where you are. You're very welcome to The Art as well. This is our 45th episode, and I'm delighted this morning to have our special guest, Jenny Richardson, with us. Jenny was born in Edinburgh and studied art in the College of Art there in Edinburgh, but made her home over in Ireland in 1975, where she bought a lovely cottage in West Cork. Jenny has a daughter, Daisy, who's also an artist, and she lives in Glasgow. And Jenny has two grandchildren. So let's go straight down to West Cork and say hello to Jenny. How are you, Jenny? How are you?
Hello, good morning.
Lovely to have you on.
Great to be here.
Thank you. Thank you. So, Jenny, let's start with going back to Glasgow, because whilst you made your home there in West Cork, you decided a while back to spend 2 years over in Glasgow, and but things didn't work out exactly the way they did. They did in terms of production of work, which you did an awful lot of when you were there, but not in terms of looking after your daughter and grandchildren, which was the intention.
We got the
So what happened?
The pandemic.
Yeah.
I was totally stuck in a upstairs flat with a wee garden out the back, which was a great thing to have. In fact,
Yes.
Discovered my neighbours opposite didn't have garden.
I know.
Yeah, so
Yeah. And you did a lot of painting.
I did, yes. I just had a living room with a sort of bow window onto the street, and I could see the street going past and things, but very good light. It was facing north. It was probably a very good studio, really.
Yes.
I eventually assembled things. It took me a few months to get a table. One of Daisy's neighbours gave me a table eventually, and then I was in great style.
Yeah, great.
Very limited studio facilities, but I seem to.
But it must have been very lonely, because you were basically stuck there, weren't you?
Well, I did get stuck, yes. Then lockdown happened, and everybody, you couldn't. I mean, I was ordering my groceries from Sainsbury's, and I didn't go into a shop or go out. And also, I was painting vegetables, which came from the Asian store, which I went past on my way to the swimming pool. So all that stopped, and I couldn't go and get my vegetables more. So I sort of had to adapt to different things. So I did a few lockdown paintings of the houses and streets and things like that I'd been drawing all the time I was there. So
I would see a few examples.
And we've got some examples of those in the studio. And the
in the presentation, the slide presentation. Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
So when did you actually get back to Cork?
Last August. Yeah, the end of August, I think it was. Yes, I sort of missed the whole summer, really, being locked down.
Yes, and you couldn't see the grandkids. You were sort of waving through the window, I guess, were you?
Waving at them, yes.
Oh.
So in fact, I haven't really seen them since whenever March, I suppose, to sort of or to be in their actual company. We did have we had some walks in the parks together.
Sure.
Distancing kind of walks.
Yeah.
But,
now, you've been painting all your life, and between Scotland and Ireland, but now mainly in Ireland, obviously.
Yes.
How would you describe your art? You know, are you a landscape artist? Are you?
It's quite autobiographical, a lot of it.
Really?
It's figurative, definitely. Yes, I'd sort of go, I think like everyone, I paint in I'll have a subject or a phase, or be painting something, and like the vegetable, I'll be doing all vegetables, completely obsessed with them.
Yes.
And then years of painting tin coffee pots for some reason, got completely obsessed with them.
I see. Well, we all have our little obsessions, don't we? Like that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Well, look, let's go out, because your studio is actually, a couple of feet, basically, isn't it, away from your house?
Yes.
So let's go over there, and because your Wi-Fi isn't that hectic over there, Georgina, your friend Georgina Goulding, very kindly helped you video it, and she produced a lovely film, which we're going to look at now.
This is my house, and my studio's conveniently close, and we're in the studio at the moment, looking back towards my house. And this is a rainbow that my granddaughter Greta made for me while I was staying in Glasgow for a year and a half recently, to say thank you to the National Health. It's on my window there. So I put it up here when I got back to say thank you to Greta. And this is the self-portrait I did about 3 or 4 years ago of myself conducting a troop of choughs and ravens and grey crows from the top of my house, like you do. And you see it, this is my work table with some of the things I use to paint. These are some of the little sketches I make in my car when it's very stormy. I like to go out painting in my car, and I take this board here with little pieces of special oil painting paper, so I can do 3 or 4 at once if I'm feeling very creative. And this is a lovely little paint box I've been given by my daughter, which makes it all a lot easier. I used to bring a dirty old basket full of paint and just make the car full of oil paint.
Actually, I'm going to stop there, Jenny, just to see. I see you've got something that shiny there on the lid. Yes, is that glass or?
It's a perspex palette. It's brilliant.
Oh, okay.
You can see the little finger hole there, and it's,
yes,
you can cover it in paint and paint it, and then you can put it back in with the little clips so it doesn't sort of put paint all over the shop.
I know.
It's great.
Very handy. Very handy. And do you paint in acrylics or oil or both?
Oils. Yeah, I don't use acrylics.
You not? No.
I used to like them, but I sort of haven't used them for a long time now.
Yeah. Okay. All right.
Very clean these days. Hardly a drop gets loose. And these are some paintbrushes. This is my favourite one. It came from Paris. I don't know what this one is. I don't know if I keep paint with that. It's very prickly. And still life objects. This is an old bit of a whale, I think, that I found on the beach. It's a dog skull I found on the beach. There's the urchin. And the lobster. Various rusty bits and bobs. And very useful when we have a drawing group here. Sometimes we can always find something interesting to draw in these boxes. And I've got another bag of shells somewhere as well. And this is a little coffee strainer that my daughter sent me from Glasgow in a parcel which had a lovely label on it that said a nice wee present from Scotland. Turned out to be ripped off a cover of an Ivor Cutler book. That I later found the book in her flat with the cover missing. But I've never managed to put them all together yet. But I will, I'm sure, sometime. It's a bit of a treasure. This is the wooden panels that I do a lot of my paintings on, that I order from a German firm called Beara.
Now, again, Jenny, if you don't mind, I'm going to stop you there, which I would normally do if it was a live version of this. To ask you, I noticed a lot of your work seems to be done on this wood. Do you ever use canvas at all?
Well, the self-portrait of myself as a scarecrow, that's on canvas. But
yes,
I haven't really for a while. I've been completely fond of these panels. They're just very nice and smooth. And
yes,
I like painting on linen if I can get a linen canvas. I like the texture of that. But I usually find them a bit too rough, some of the canvases that you can.
I know. Yes.
I used to stretch my own, but my hands aren't strong enough to stretch canvases anymore. But,
yeah. So these are very handy. And obviously they come in all shapes and sizes.
Yeah, you can get all sorts of shapes. And
are they prepared surfaces or do you do it yourself?
Good, and then I paint them with gesso primer.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Okay, very good. We'll go on.
And they're wonderful, very good at sending them when you want them. And this is the paper I use for all those sketches and different paintings. This is a painting on it, so it's quite sort of substantial. And I tried to order it from Holland and I couldn't manage it. I just couldn't make it work. So I had to get a friend in Holland to send me that. So that was really good. And where are we going? These are some of the driftwood critters, as I call them, that I make. My sort of cottage industry, I've been making hundreds of these for the last few years. And that was a swallow we just had, that's a Jack Russell. And that's a little rabbit. And then at the top was a hare, who was, I think, the very first one I did. And I just started doing them. These are my books. Lots of favourite painters and reference books and different. Never quite room for them all on there. My painting storage on the left, and that's the coffee pots that I like to paint, and a lot of still life objects generally. Very large amount of tin enamel that I've been obsessed with. And I think really it's gone on too long. I'd have to start shedding some of it soon. Too much tin. A few bits of things of interest, a nice whale dolphin poster, or like Osborne's beautiful Gannet photograph, and Picasso's lovely face, and my daughter Daisy with her design for a wedding hat as a cloud with rain coming out of it. To fascinate her with a bit of a difference. And that's a very old self-portrait of Daisy when she was in first year at art school in Glasgow School of Art, and very serious looking there. Beautiful painting. And some of mine, Apples in Winter, I call the top one. That was the first one I did when I returned after living in Glasgow for a year and a half, painting tons of vegetables. It was quite nice to have some of my own homegrown. Some of the paintings I did while I was in Glasgow, which I got vegetables from an Asian shop. Incredibly excited about at the time. And there's a whole pile of little critter bits waiting to be made into something. And a wee painting by Daisy for when my much loved dog died. It's a Goodbye George painting. And this is my trolley that I move around anywhere I am in the studio. At the moment I'm making quail, which is a little bit too blue, so it's got to be toned down. And this little one my nephew Simon sent from Japan. Imagine where the Japanese beach it might have come from. And there's some paints filed. I need to do a lot of work on the bits of wood before I actually start painting them. I get a lot of beating up with those things before I get the paint loose on them. And then here we have my book. And there's some of the paintings for it. That's sort of the final bit of the book. And there's this, it's called Eat Your Porridge. And it's me and my friend And that's the book available to buy if you want, and Alan has the link for that. This is my current obsession with watercolour, and been painting flowers and grasses and things for the last 6 or 7 months probably. Sort of lockdown really, in a way. I started just painting flowers. I couldn't get to the vegetable shop to get the vegetables while I was still in Glasgow, so I started getting grass and bits of stuff from the park. And this is my uncle's paint box, my Uncle Tom's paint box, and that's a little light plasticky Winsor & Newton one that just weighs nothing in your pocket. And this is a heavy one that I've had for a long time, my own, but it's a bit old and dried up. I was just trying today to see if I could get it to work.
Jenny, as a matter of interest, can you get replacements for those colours, for those little paint boxes?
Yes, they come in lovely little packets, just all done up in little parcels. You can just order them. I order them from Cork Art Supplies. And
very good. Yeah, and you just plunk them in.
They usually, yeah.
Yeah, great. Okay.
And I've got the colour chart, so I can.
You know which ones you need. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Dried up paint does seem to. And this is lovely portable paint brushes that my son-in-law gave me. He worked in a art shop in London and was giving me lovely presents from there. It was happy days. And this is some graphite pencils, which I've been using a lot because you can sort of water them down. I've got it marked there. That's one done with watered down pencil. There's some trusty open end knife. All right. This is one of my inventories underway at the moment. I suppose this will be early May. I may get into the middle of May before I get it done. This was late April. And that was early April. This is what I'm entertaining myself with at the moment. I'm looking for things as they come out. And this little egg which I found yesterday, I just popped it in there. I don't know whose it is, it's got no spots on it or anything. I think I've got a book somewhere that will tell me what sort of bird. And these are some of the nests. This is one that Maria Hingerty sent to me when I was in Glasgow. It's got a tea bag as part of its construction, and she sent it in one of these post boxes. And my studio was sort of just in the window, and I was looking out. I saw a postie coming. I thought, oh, a nice yellow parcel. That would be nice, you know, not knowing that unposted yellow boxes just came to me. It was so exciting. And my granddaughter, Maya Rosa, found this beautiful little nest up a tree she was climbing in the park, in Rockhill Park in Glasgow. And that's a painting of it. And that's one of Maria Hingerty's one, which I think she got from somebody else who gave it to her. So actually, she borrowed it. It's probably got to go home to somewhere. When we're all not locked down anymore. And that's one I did a couple of years ago. Some of the other nests that are lurking in that box. And that's it. I hope you enjoyed my studio visit.
That's lovely. Thanks, Jenny, for that. And thanks, Georgina, as well, for the
film, yes.
Oh, yes, absolutely. Yeah, very well filmed. Yeah, I love your critters, by the way.
Yes, yeah, I think they're my most successful artwork from recent
Yeah.
years.
And do they always show themselves as being something in the end of the day, or do some of them have to be tossed aside because
they're great kindling if they don't work out?
that sounds almost cruel, doesn't it? Okay, now there's one thing that I'm fascinated by, and again, it's thanks to you for sending it on to me, is your book.
Yes.
All right.
Yes.
And what's amazing about it is your father was an army doctor, and he was posted to Libya.
Yeah.
And you went out, yourself and your brother, and your mum, obviously, went out to Libya, I think near Tripoli, and you lived there.
In the middle of Tripoli.
Yeah, and you were 4 years of age.
Yes.
But then something terrible happened. You contracted polio.
Yes.
And you were sent back to Glasgow, to a hospital that specialised in looking after children.
Edinburgh, yeah.
Edinburgh, yeah. Can you tell us a bit about that? Because not only did that become a book, but it came this whole series of paintings that you did in your 60s.
I know. I was watching a television program. It was at the time when did we work out when it was? About 2008, and people stopped buying paintings.
Well, that's right. Yes, 2008.
Much market for coffee pots at that stage.
Yeah.
I seemed to have a lot of spare time, and I saw a television program where someone was doing, a few artists were doing work relating to their childhood, and I thought, oh, I'll try that. And I did. The first painting I did was actually me meeting my parents, who I didn't recognize because I hadn't seen them for a year.
Yes. Yeah.
After that,
it was very lonely.
It sort of was a traumatic moment, probably. But I worked sort of. They were like a sort of little train. All the paintings, just the memories came back.
Yes.
And I know they were absolute memories because I didn't have any adult to tell me stories about that time. I was away from everybody.
Yeah.
And so it's amazing how much emerged from a 4 to 5 year old person's memory.
Yes. And not only that, but your memory from then on isn't quite as clear at all.
Not at all. No, I can't remember.
Like most of us.
Yeah, it was just like
vivid.
It was very different.
Yeah.
I can remember quite a lot about Tripoli, which was also very different. Things I sort of remembered about that and what it was like. And, but also totally different to anywhere else I ever lived.
Completely.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I mean, some of the stories that you tell in the book and the accompanying images, drawings, as well as paintings are fantastic. It's a beautifully sensitive book, brilliantly written, I think.
Oh, thank you.
No, it really is. And it just conjures up these images of what it must have been like. Yeah. And the other thing that I noticed very much in your painting is that you're painting it from a child's point of view, as in a little person.
But you see,
because all you can see are legs.
People's faces.
Oh, exactly. Well, I love that. So
I thought, well, I'll just go with that. Yeah.
Sure. Yeah. So you were in your 60s when you did that.
Yes.
And was that a long process? And how many did you do?
I did. Well, everything I did. There's a few other drawings and things around it, but most of it is in the book.
Yes.
And I suppose it was perhaps a year or more. I don't know how long.
Sure.
And then I just put them away, and I had bought a new Hoover, and I shoved the whole lot in a Hoover box because I couldn't stand the sight of them.
Yeah. And where did the book originate?
Well, what happened was Sarah Walker, who is a wonderful painter in a gallery in Castletown, came, hadn't got any work for a show because she very generously shows all our work in her gallery.
Yeah.
I heaved out a few of those, and she went, "Oh, that'll make a great creepy little show."
I see. Yeah.
And we called it Eat Your Porridge, and it all went on the wall in her gallery.
Yeah.
And plus the letters that my father wrote, illustrated letters to me.
Well, actually, that's another thing I wanted to show people, because it's an amazing thing. It's amazing the fact that you actually have them.
I know. Well, that was thanks to someone in the hospital who saved them all.
Sister Swan,
who turns out to have been called Sister Swanston. I afterwards discovered.
Yeah, exactly. Now, I'm just going to show that to the camera, and it might give an impression of all these letters that your father wrote to you, But they were all illustrated with little kind of cartoons and stories and all of that. And
Even
there's a few pages of these.
The envelopes had stuff on them as well, like little soldiers parachuting down with Air Forces airmail written in them and things.
That's right. That's right. And I mean, it really is a fascinating book. And if people want to get their hands on that, they can do so through your website, which is jennyrichardson.com. Am I right?
Jenny, my website is jennyrichardsonlowcase.net.
Oh, .net, sorry. Yeah, .net. And if anyone has any, you know, if you forget about that, most of you would have my email.
Yeah.
So, you know, email me and I'll pass it on to Jenny, okay? But it's a beautiful book to have, and Jenny will sign it. And if you want to put a special message in there, she will do that as well. Only for people who are watching the art as well.
Yes, only for you.
Isn't that right? So the exhibition happened, and then you produced the book yourself. You self-published it.
Yeah, I self-published it. Yes.
Yeah. Was that difficult?
I had a friend, Zane Dager, did the design, which was really a large part of it. Although Tim Goulding actually produced an initial one with Desktop Publishing, is it called? Or
yes, I think so. Yeah.
A really lovely one he produced for Sarah Walker's Eat Your Porridge stage thing, but we only did about 30 of those, I think.
Yes.
So then I decided to take the whole thing further and wrote, you know, the whole story and then got it printed. Yeah.
Fabulous. Fabulous. Okay, so moving on, Jenny, I think what we'll do is we'll have a look at some of your work, because I know there are loads of stories within your work, so it's probably a good thing to do at this point. This is something I rarely do, which is to put somebody's profile photo on the start of the presentation. And the reason I did this with you is because I honestly believe that this has to be the best profile photograph I've got from any of the artists that we've featured on the art as well.
More young and fun than the old thing you were.
I think it's fantastic with your parasol. It sort of evokes memories of Ryan's daughter walking on the beach over in Kerry somewhere with the parasol. But it's a fabulous photograph. Who took it?
It was taken by Con Kelleher.
He's
a wonderful photographer, and
tell me a bit about him.
He's a wonderful framer. He frames all our paintings, or has done for years.
Yes.
And he's also, you know, his photographs of landscapes, and he does amazing work. Lots of beautiful photographs of windows and rusty old bits and pieces around his studio, and he's near near Macroom. Yeah, he's near Macroom.
Yep. Okay.
And yes, he's wonderful, and he's done a lot of pictures of all musicians and artists. I think he should bring out a self-published book, or maybe someone publish it for him.
Yeah,
it'd be a fascinating thing to see.
Yeah,
and yes, definitely the best publicity photograph.
It's good, isn't it? This is your famous obsession.
This is the ultimate, all the tin, just about. Yes, all in one painting.
And that's all oils.
Yes, that's quite a big painting actually. I can't remember now exactly how big, but it was larger. They're all about life size. So.
Where did you collect all the coffee pots?
They came from anywhere where I found them. Really. There's the little one with the willow pattern on. I can't remember when I got that. I've had that for the longest of all. And some of them from Bantry Market, actually. That was quite good. The old antique bits at the end of Bantry Market. They sometimes have tin things.
Yes. Yeah, it's a great collection.
I had them for a bit. I think when they were sort of fashionable, they turned up for large prices in antique shops.
Yes.
Occasionally I had to buy them. I just couldn't resist them.
I know. And they're lovely. I love them. All right, the next one.
That's another one, the coffee pot, and another obsession, spots.
All right.
That's old dog and young dog.
Are these yours?
Yes, my pair. That's Coco and Dora. And Dora pestering Coco to play with her, and Coco saying, "Not right now, thank you."
Was he the elder?
Yeah.
Yeah.
He was probably about 10 when Dora came to stay. Yeah.
Yes.
And that's Dora.
That's beautiful.
And she was very good at just lying down. If you put her near a heat source and give her a blanket, she would lie still for hours and just, you could actually just paint her.
The ideal model.
Yep, there you go.
Yeah. Now, this is interesting.
This is when I started doing some work. I was thinking about isolation and taking it to extreme lengths, I suppose, really.
Yes.
She's an extremely isolated person there. And also, I think they're all a bit endangered because they're on a sort of overhanging cliff as well.
Mm-hmm.
I suppose, yeah, I was having thoughts about isolation and
right. And when you compose something like this, do you do a sort of a drawing beforehand, or do you have an idea of what you're doing, or does it evolve as you go?
I go back into the sketchbooks around that time. I was drawing a lot of it as well. A lot of them are pencil drawings that I did, but I think each painting would be just an individual event as it happened.
Yes, yes.
Sort of drawings around it. Yeah.
And do they ever come from dreams?
No, I'm quite glad I don't dream these days.
That's because you didn't sleep last night.
Don't do much dreaming, it's wakefulness at night. But I did feel when I was doing them that they were very kind of the most near I got to painting the landscapes around here, although there are complete fantasy landscapes.
Yes.
Kind of seemed to me to sort of say they look like here to me. Yeah. More than coffee pots do anyway.
Sure. Yes.
Yeah.
And this is another from that series.
Yes, he's watching the boat going off to America, I suppose. And,
right. Yeah. And a similar one.
Yeah. That
actually, looks like your house.
It is sort of a bit like my house, yes.
Yes, yeah. And again, all to do with the theme of isolation.
Yes. Feeling of kind of, feeling very isolated.
Mm-hmm. I love this one.
I think I sort of painted myself into a really quite a jolly state of mind with all those isolated ones. And this was me, my self-portrait as a scarecrow.
So does this follow on from that?
It was sort of about the end of them, really, although maybe did a few more after that.
Yeah.
I thought this was, I did another one, I think, which I don't have a photo of myself on the roof of the house with the house floating away out to sea on a sort of bit of an outcrop of some sort.
Well, this is why I asked, do they ever come from dreams? Because it's the sort of thing you dream about, isn't it?
Yes. I think it's my fear of heights. I really, nothing would persuade me to stand on the roof of my house. You couldn't get me up there for love or money.
Sure.
I'm terrified of heights. So I'm sort of
playing. But you'd like to be a bird and be able
around with heights and flying and things.
Yeah. Beautiful. And I just love the colouring in it, and the atmosphere is beautiful.
Yes, it's quite dreamlike.
It is very dreamlike. Very dreamlike. Yeah. Right. Bees.
There's just a little still life of bees, dead bees. Beeline. Yeah.
Beeline. And these are your vegetables. So this is the one you did in Scotland.
That was the first of the first day I went to the vegetable shop and discovered all these things. I never did find out quite what those furry guys down at the bottom are. But,
down here, yeah. Or indeed this fella.
Yeah, that one, I'd never managed to eat one of those. I kept buying them and then they go bad before I...
They're not prickly pears or anything, no?
No, they're sort of like a kind of a cucumbery relation, I think.
Yes.
A bitter melon or something. No, I can't remember the name of it.
Yeah. Okay.
But mostly aubergines, all those stripy guys and long purpley one, they're all aubergines.
Yes. And
I think the little bottom right one turned out to be an aubergine too.
Oh, really?
All sorts of varieties.
And some peppers.
Chilies, yeah.
Chilies, yeah.
So I like that sort of Zeppelin one. It's really nice.
Yeah. This is beautiful as well.
That was the most straightforward vegetables I ever found in the Asian shop.
which I refer to as an onion. Ooh.
Yeah, I know. What, turnips, yeah.
Turnips, yeah. Yeah. And my favorite.
The box of mangoes,
Yeah.
which Georgina gave to Tim for his birthday. Thank you, Georgina.
Oh, really? Lovely. Beautiful colour. Yeah.
When they came into the shops, they'd have them all laid out outside like a sort of celebration. For the whole outside of the shop be full of boxes of mangoes. And they had tinsel and things in them and stuff to celebrate the mangoes.
Ah.
I was very disappointed when I got it home and discovered mine didn't have any tinsel in it.
Was that done in Glasgow as well?
If I did had some.
Yeah. And was that done in Glasgow?
Yes, it was one of the whole series.
Yes.
And the box is nice too.
Lovely.
This is sort of this was right at the beginning of lockdown in April. I did that one.
And
my house in the distance there.
Yeah, exactly. Yes, I know. So reminiscent of home.
Home Thoughts, that one was called. Yeah.
Yeah. And then are these buildings opposite you?
No, that was sort of my side of the street, in fact.
Oh, right. Okay. Yeah. Yeah. And I think you mentioned to me that because you were on your own and alone and isolated, you spent a lot of time looking out the window.
I was always yeah.
So you'd be intrigued by what exactly the hell is going on across the road.
In this one, you can see there's a lot of people outside the bottom window.
Oh, yes.
They're just distancing and talking to people inside the window.
I hadn't noticed that. Yes, I see that now.
And then I painted my family up above. That's all of them in the upstairs window of that building.
Okay. Yeah.
Daisy, Hugh, and Greta and Myra.
Just this one here.
That one.
Yeah. And what's the background?
That's just peeping through at Glasgow with the Beara moon that in May, I suppose. That was.
Yeah. And it's a very hilly place, isn't it? So.
Yes, so we're right at the top of a hill, looking down at Glasgow and out to the wind farm, huge wind farm. It's a really big view you had out the back.
Yes. Yeah.
But not quite like that. It was actually a solid wall of house, and I just painted my back view that I had.
Yes, exactly.
I was messing around with it.
Yeah. It's lovely. I like that. And I know Yvonne, who's looking in, likes that whole idea of brightness at night. The lights coming through.
Yeah.
And this is the painting we saw of the tea bag.
That's the one with the tea bag.
Yeah. Now, tell us about this one.
Right, that was the opposite neighbours. My house was a red Glasgow building, that sort of strange dark red colour, and the opposite one was that lovely pale sandstone. They didn't have any back gardens, so this girl would sit out and do sunbathing. She went a lovely shade of brown in the lockdown.
And then you have a chap on his computer, I think.
Working on a laptop, yes.
Yeah. And the dog.
The dog. And then the girl upstairs above the sunbather is working as well. You could see them with their laptops and working.
Yes. Yeah. Extraordinary, isn't it?
And upstairs on the very top, a couple of seagull babies were reared. I kept thinking, I was sure they were going to fall off the roof. They were teetering around up there.
Yeah.
Eventually they launched. They launched before I did, anyway.
Yes. And is that a close-up of one of the windows? Yeah.
No, that's just a painting of the dog.
Oh, separate, right? Yeah.
That one, I think that's the one that Martin Gale has. He liked that one.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
So, and again, this was done during COVID.
Yep. Yeah, they were all done at that.
So he's a COVID dog. Have you come across that term before?
No.
Well, we have a COVID dog, and basically they're antisocial. very stupid and everything else that goes with it,
right.
because they haven't been out and they haven't really socialized.
Yes, they haven't been allowed to meet other dogs.
No. And there is actually a syndrome,
Right.
a COVID dog. They're just not socialized properly. But anyway.
Well, my dog Dora died during that period, and anyway, I'd left her with Danny Osborne, looked after her for her last time while I was away. I wish I'd managed to get a dog during lockdown, because I still haven't got one yet.
Yeah, another wonderful company. I'd never be without a dog.
Yeah, that's my granddaughter Greta playing with a paper boat in the sink in my green bathroom. I had a wonderful green bathroom, everything, the blue, the bath, everything with a beautiful shade of sort of eau de Nil, I think.
Yes.
Very popular 1930s bathroom.
Yeah.
But,
I think that's the last one, isn't it? It is, yeah.
Yeah.
For the moment. So Jenny, tell us about sort of exhibitions that you've done and sort of points in your career that really stood out as being, ooh, that was a really successful exhibition, or, you know.
I had a lovely one when I first came over and did the house up in the Ashford Gallery in the RHA. That was really great.
Yes.
Thanks to Martin Gale again. I think he was the one who organised that, possibly. I mean, definitely.
Yes.
And the shows at, I've just got a little list here to remind me of.
Sure,
them. Yeah. I had an exhibition when Daisy was a year old in Tom Caldwell Gallery in 1976, which was a really good one.
Yes.
Very amazing. And lots of other shows over the years that don't particularly spring to mind right now.
Sure. And what plans have you got? You know, are you working on anything at the moment that you could develop into a series?
Not really. I just seem to be making inventories of plants at the moment. I don't know if they could really go on the wall anywhere.
They're beautiful.
They're not bad. I mean, they're kind of framed up by con. They might look good.
Yes.
But, I don't know. Yes, so today we're going to go and deliver 4 paintings to the Blue House Gallery to a group show in Chicago.
Yeah.
And so that's the next project. And I don't know, really. I've got nothing in view as far as exhibitions and things go.
Yeah.
And we've got some paintings up in John Taylor's gallery. Some of those island paintings are up there.
All right. So Taylor's would be your gallery, your Dublin gallery anyway.
Yeah.
Okay. Katie K is saying, that's my daughter. Wow, that's amazing. I love that your dad put cartoons on the letter. So sweet.
Yes. Yeah.
Yvonne says, I like your sense of perspective in all your paintings.
Wonky, I think you might call it.
Yeah. Maria Gabriela says, I love the mango box. Yes, I love that too. Catherine Green says, Jenny, I love your work and I really like the house on the cliffs and your dream work. You have a lovely way of laying paint. Thank you. That's from Catherine Green, who was on last week.
Oh, thank you, Catherine.
Yeah.
I loved your program. I liked the cartographers, particularly with their lovely coats.
Yes, absolutely. Yvonne says, a serene sense of melancholy in a lot of your paintings and colour palette. True. Anne McBride, really beautiful work, Jenny. I love the subjects, the colour and simplicity. Yvonne Hopper comes to mind. Yvonne, I love them.
Yeah, he's a big god, all right.
Yeah, yes. Marianne says, love the critters. I love the critters too. And paintings of nests. And the book sounds fascinating. It is fascinating. I've read it. It is amazing. Ivan, do really look forward to seeing you in your paintings in real life very soon. Yes.
I have a picture for Ivan. It's sitting waiting for you, Ivan.
Oh, you have one set aside for him, have you?
Well, he gave me a piece of wood and I've It's got two alternative eyes. It has either a button or a teddy bear's eye, and we couldn't make our mind up which to.
All right. Very good. Very good. All right. I'm sure there'll be a few more coming up, a few more questions. But one question I ask everybody is, as an artist, who do you particularly admire and whose work you'd actually love to have on your sitting room wall that you could stare at every day? Who would that be?
I chose a Vermeer, although it was there were a lot of people. I had a large cast to choose from.
Yes.
Like Chardin and William Nicholson and all sorts of wonderful still life painters.
Mm-hmm.
That is the first time I actually saw a painting, a real painting.
Mm.
My parents didn't take me to art galleries until this one, which was the Louvre, when I was 13.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Because my dad was working in Paris, we went on a little trip. My mum and me went to the Louvre.
Mm-hmm.
I was gobsmacked by that.
And this stood out.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Beautiful. All right, we'll try and arrange and get that for you.
Yes, please.
Now, I'm going to unmute everybody and at this point, and if anyone wants to ask you a question in person, they can do so. So hang about there and I'll just unmute everyone.
Was your father talented at art? I'm talking about his little cartoons.
Yeah, well, that was his sort of thing. He did, they were good little watercolors. He was doing them on terrible airmail paper and things. They did very well, I think. Mm. He liked to draw. I think everyone does a bit of drawing, don't they, sometimes?
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah. Okay, anybody else got a question?
I'm a bit intrigued, and I don't know whether I should ask the question, but I'm thinking of some friends of mine and people I've met over the years, and I'm wondering whether that awful polio epidemic of the 1950s, which left a lot of young people unable to go to school in the normal sort of way, whether a lot of them turned out to be artistic or got time to paint and draw and so on, because there was very little else in terms of schooling available.
That's probably
maybe
true.
I'm totally off the wall with that, but I'd be interested to know what Jenny thinks about it.
Yeah.
Yes, I think that's you've got a point there. I think I certainly always had drawing books and things as far as I can remember way back, and I never got to school at all till I was about 7, and then that was a bit interrupted by operations and things. I was 9 and 10 and 15, different sort of. They used to do all these operations and stuff, so I probably missed out quite a lot. Very badly educated person I am, really. But yes, I think also you have a lot of, you perhaps wouldn't be able to get out and run around as much, so you'd like to be. I mean, I always like drawing, just something to do. I'm passionate about that everyone should try drawing. And
yeah, well, I think also, Jenny, I mean, the fact that those memories are so vivid of that particular period in your life, as against the many years that followed. Yes. There's something that when you are struck down with something like that, every day is, in a sense, a bit of a trauma.
It must have been. I mean, I can't really remember the beginning of it, being suddenly finding myself in a cold Scottish hospital after lovely warm Tripoli.
Yeah. But you have some lovely stories about people who came to visit you, kind of relations.
Yes.
Some of whom you embraced, others of whom you turned away and sort of said, what the hell are you doing here?
I know who they were, they knew who I was, but I'd never met them in my, perhaps when I was a baby, but yes, they'd turn up and I wouldn't speak.
Rupert says your 3D paintings are wonderful, seeing figures in the driftwood, etc. Yes, yeah. Philip says, hi, Jan, always love your particular unique view of the world. Philip, obviously.
Yes. He's a fellow polio sufferer.
Oh, is he? Okay.
And
And did you ever mint or keep friends with any of the people you met at that time? Because there was one particular girl, wasn't there, who was beside you?
Miriam Fox, whose parents were travellers, and she was equally abandoned. I think that's why we were such pals.
Yeah. Yes.
And I mean, I vividly remember her. So she'd be an old stick the same age as me by now. And I don't think the traveller life would have let her live quite such a long life as I've lived.
Yes.
If she did get brought home. I don't know, there was no way a 4-year-old, I was probably learning to write at the time, but certainly helped to keep in touch with any of the people from in there.
Absolutely. Okay, anybody else got a question?
Hello?
Yes?
It's Martin here.
Hi there, Martin. How are you?
Oh,
Hi. Well done, Jenny. That was lovely. Well done. It was great to see the work. I just wondered if you plan to do any more self-portraits. I remember a few years ago you did a series of self-portraits, and I got lucky enough to have a beautiful one. I wonder if you plan to do any more.
They're a great way. Well, I've always used them as a sort of way of starting when I know what to do next. There's always myself handy to do a painting of. Yes.
Sure. Yeah.
I did some in Glasgow.
Your one is very honest, and it does force you to really confront as you really are, doesn't it? Because there's
wrinkles and all. Yeah.
A whole lot. Yeah.
It's more difficult as I get more wrinkly. Actually, it's more of a tricky business painting wrinkles.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I'd love to see more, because I thought just the handling of the paint was beautiful. There's a lovely kind of dryness in it. Lovely.
Thanks a lot, Martin.
Well done.
Thank you.
Hi, can I say something?
You can, Jenny.
Hello, Jenny.
Hello, Jenny. I just want to show this self-portrait.
Oh wow! Yeah.
There you are, Martin.
Oh, it's beautiful. That's lovely.
Slightly pre-wrinkles, that one. Yes.
Slightly what?
This is pre the wrinkly period.
Oh.
Tell us about that, Jenny. When did you get that?
I think it was 19. Oh God, I don't know. 80.
Sometime.
80s.
Yeah.
Was that in the Glasgow show?
Do you know? I can't remember what it was. Yeah, maybe. No, I don't know actually. It was one of Daisy strangling a granite at the same time, which Tim has, I think. Yeah.
It says on the back. It says Garnish Beach.
Yes. Well, I was probably painting it in Scotland, imagining I was in Ireland.
Anyway, there you are. That's my favourite self-portrait of you.
Right. Thank you, Jenny.
Thanks, Jenny.
Okay, I'm muting myself again.
Malachy. No, you're fine. Thank you very much for that. Malachy says, looking forward to your book, Jenny. Thanks to you and Alan. So there's one sale.
Great.
Janet says, I love your self-portraits, Jenny. Yvonne says, you come across as a wonderfully warm and sensitive artist.
Thank you.
Eilish, I hope I'm pronouncing your name correctly. To what extent do you feel artists' work is influenced by events experienced as trauma in childhood? Thank you, wonderful work.
Well, I think certainly my book lot were entirely about that.
Entirely, yes.
I feel they kind of liberated me from the after effects of it to make that work too. I think it was very therapeutic.
Yes, absolutely. But do you think in some way that it may have influenced all your work? Not necessarily subject-wise.
I think you'd have to, I don't know, I really don't. Yeah, but I suppose I've chosen things because I can't sort of get out and do things. Maybe I do things that are a bit close and small and close to home, and perhaps, I don't know.
Yeah.
That's something I haven't thought about and could put my mind to.
I know. Okay.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. I'm just wondering, talking about that book, whether the lockdown reminded you of being in the hospital for a year?
Good point.
Like the connection between the two, because
yes, there were a lot of connections, really.
I know from myself. I was in a children's home, and the lockdown kind of brought stuff up.
Yeah.
And so the connect, and I was 2, but it's very strong. It's there. Yeah. So just wondered if if that works. But
felt
you
like-
painted through the lockdown. You painted your way through the lockdown. So.
It all felt a bit of a lockdown, really, the whole thing.
Yeah.
Glasgow. It's a kind of rather daunting city for me physically.
Yeah.
It's so hilly, and it was very hard for me to walk up and down all those hills.
And that would be harder than being in West Cork, I guess.
Well, yeah, it was.
Yeah.
I just hop in the car and go for a walk somewhere.
Yeah. Yeah.
So that wasn't quite such a easy thing to do.
No, being in the city must be much harder. Yeah.
Find a lovely park I could just drive to, Rockhill Park, it's a big sort of wild park where you can see the whole
Yeah.
right on the top of everything. It was a great spot.
Very good. Thanks,
Thank
Marianne. Thank you.
Thanks.
Frida Meany says, thanks, Jenny. Lovely to spend time with you and hope to see you soon. And that's from Frida.
Frida. We could meet up now, I think, couldn't we?
Oh, I think you probably can. You're all
Yes.
double vaccinated. Okay, so unless there's anybody else.
Can I show another painting?
Oh, yeah, of course you can. Please do. Yeah.
What she got here? Jenny has quite a few.
Yeah.
This is, I've forgotten what they're called, goldfinches, I think.
Goldfinches,
Yes.
I know you can't see it very well,
Yes.
but it was just
Yeah.
fantastic the way you got the movement of them.
Yeah, they're flying. Yeah.
And there's millions out in my tree nearly every day, and I just wish I could capture the way you do.
They are the most beautiful birds, aren't they?
Yeah. Anyway, that's it.
Thanks, Jenny. Thank you for that. Yeah.
Alan, you know, Jenny, the CRC was set up by Lady Goulding, Tim Goulding's mother, to help children with polio.
Yes, and Philip, who was on earlier, had a lot of help from them in his childhood, I think.
Did he? Yes.
Yes. The Central Remedial Clinic, yes.
Yeah, she was a fantastic lady.
Yes. Yes, well, I had the pleasure of meeting her once or twice in my past.
Oh, really? Yeah.
Lovely person.
Good.
Not in connection to polio stuff, just in connection to knowing Tim, really. But,
Yeah. Tim, otherwise known as Leviticus today,
yes.
says, Jenny is a superb artist, what I would call a natural painter. Her paintings are direct and emotional, apart from having a beautiful color sense. Well summed up, Tim.
Leviticus, you were very kind.
Okay, listen, Jenny, you're an absolute star, and thank you so much for letting us into your life and showing us around and telling us about key moments of your life. I really appreciate it. It's a wonderful human experience, to hear from somebody like you.
It's a very interesting experience to be interviewed by you, because you're very, very good at it.
Oh, thank you. Very kind. You're very kind.
The programs are wonderful. I think everyone's been enjoying all these.
Yeah. Well, it's just nice to get the human angle, because so many of these things, they almost ignore the artist and talk about the art.
Yeah.
And I just think, we need to talk about the artist rather than the art.
Yeah.
As much about the art.
And it's great seeing people's studios as well. That's always a great.
Isn't it? Yes. Yes. And yours, I mean, would you spend a lot of time in your studio? What's your sort of typical work
I would
week?
go out there off and on all day long, because it's lovely and light. My house is really dark with small windows, and kind of you go into the studio and my head sort of lifts. So I do a lot of, I grow plants and things like that as well. It's good. They were all tidied away for the film. But
all right. Okay. Yeah. You can mess it all up now again.
It was extremely tidy for the film, unusually tidy.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, look, Jenny, I hope you'll come to Dublin someday. If not, I'll come down to your part of the world and say hello in person. I'd enjoy that. But thank you so much, and thank you all for watching. Now, next week we'll be doing it all over again, and we're meeting a man in Dublin. That's all I'm going to say. And as usual, all will be revealed on Wednesday on social media. Well, I'll tell you who he is and a little bit about him. So I look forward to seeing you then. Thank you all for watching. If you're watching this on YouTube, don't forget to subscribe, the little button below. And thank you again, Jenny. Really appreciate it.
Thank you. Thanks.
Okay. Bye, everybody.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.